Hey, welcome back to Game Programming with Unity. I'm your instructor, Nicholas Bernhard Zeman, and I'm excited about this section because it's way more fun than the last one. In this section, we're dealing with audio. And what would a game be without audio? Well, honestly, when you play a game, you like to turn the sound up, right? A lot of work and a lot of energy and a lot of detail goes into developing sounds and interaction with sounds in a game. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to that, mostly because it kind of happens in the background, but it's a vital element to game design and game development. So what I'm showing you here is a scene. We're just going to kind of go over how sounds in Unity work. What do we do? How do we set them up? What are they all about? All right, so basically in Unity we have two types of sounds, 2D sound and a 3D sound. The 2D sound has the same volume no matter where it is, and the same left and right. It's a stereo sound. It's the same left and right, and it's the same volume no matter where you are in the game, right? It does not adhere itself to spatial limitations, which means that, let's just undo that, which means what I'm going to show you is I've got a sound set up, and we're going to learn how to do all that individually, but I've got a sound set up. I'm going to hit play the game. I'm going to turn this into a 2D sound. I'm going to do this with something called spatial blend, which we'll talk about in a little while. Let me just hit play. Now I've got a sound here. You can hear this bell dinging. Alright, so I've got a sound. It's a little bit annoying, but it'll definitely wake you up in the morning. Alright, so I'm moving my character around the world, and the sound is going to be the same no matter where I am, right? Why? Because it's playing the same volume with the same stereo mix no matter where in the game I am. Now let's turn that off. That is annoying. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the spatial blend to 3D. And you're going to see how this changes the nature of the game play and the sound. Okay, now it's tied to a location space. And so in that little hiccup there, that's there we go. It seems to be something that holds in memory. Sometimes Unity, it'll kind of splotch that sound. All right, now you're not hearing a sound at all. Okay, what has happened? Well, I've turned this into a 3D sound. And that 3D sound, right, the 3D sound only happens based on a point in space. So I'm going to move my character around. Let's go back to our game view here. Move my character around, and look, I'm moving around now. You can see I've got the range here. You can see this is the range of the sound. As my character gets into the range of the sound, you should start to hear it. There we go. So I only hear the sound when I'm close to the object. And I can control those parameters. I can change some things like min and max distance. And we can change a few things about this. There we go. Bring out that max distance. What I'm doing is just changing some of the ranges at which I'm going to hear the sound or not. So you can see, as I get closer to the object, the sound gets louder. And that's kind of how it works in real life. Now, the reason for that 3D sound is so that we can create this effect that we're in a 3D world, and as we get closer to an object, the sound gets louder and louder. We don't always have to have that in a game. Some sounds that are indicator sounds are always going to be attached or not attached to the world, or are going to be attached to the player in the sense that they're going to play at the same volume all the time. Now, how does this work? Okay, it's actually pretty simple. The math is hard, but the concept is simple. What I'm going to do is select my camera. Now, every camera in your scene has a thing called a listener. And here it is, your audio listener. Notice there's no parameters for this. You can't build any parameters. The audio listener is attached to a camera, and it's essentially a set of ears, right? So think about every camera or every object in your scene that you want to have be a listener, have a set of ears on it. And those ears are basically reading sounds from the point in space that it exists. And that's why when we move the object around, or our character, the camera goes with the character, and so does the listener. Now, generally in a scene, we only want to have a single listener. Unless we're doing something really complex, we only want one listener in the scene. And indeed, Unity will actually give you an error. Let's just create a new camera. Okay, every time you create a camera, it creates a new audio listener. And if I hit play, if you notice, Unity will complain. And Unity will say, let's just hit that pause button. Man, that bell is annoying. There are 2 audio listeners in the scene. Please ensure there is always exactly 1 audio listener in the scene. So Unity will even complain if you have more than 1 listener. And if you do have more than 1 listener, it will choose the first listener that's attached to the camera. Alright, so just an overview of audio, how audio works, and some of the differences between 2D sound, 3D sound, and about the listener, just so you know where the point in space is coming from and that we're getting the information about how to read the audio, right? So you can hear the volume changing as we get closer and further away. Let's turn that off. Alright, so there's your overview about audio. When we come back, we're going to start getting specific about how to create audio sources, how to manage clips, and how to script them